This is Will Nunziata, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film. And today I am thrilled to be speaking with the acclaimed pop artist, CHAD ATKINS. But before we get to our interview, here's a sneak peek at the incredible talent of CHAD.
I would rip a massive hole in the sun just to spend one day with you. And I would give you all the air in my lungs, even if they split in two. And when the world is twisted and dark, and all the pieces are falling apart, I know that I just want to be with you. To be with you.
Well, hello, CHAD. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, man?
CHAD, it's so nice to finally meet you. And I'm just so
Likewise.
curious, my friend, where were you born and when did you realize that you had this love of music?
So I was born in Joplin, Missouri, in '93, and music kind of took its time to get to me. I grew up really wanting to do like to draw and do cartoons. That was kind of like my first foray into kind of like finding out what my passion was. And but I'd always still kind of really like to play on we have this really old Casio keyboard that had drum loops and different sounds and everything. It was just a piece of junk at the, like now, but at the time, you know, it was just something really fun that I liked to do, and I didn't really know that I had anything inherent for it. I think like I've really started finding out that I wanted to do it maybe when I was about, like, I would say 13 or 14, because I had just gotten introduced to GarageBand through school, and you know, the fact that you can, you know, drop in ad loops and everything just kind of sparked something in me. So my mom had her MacBook, so I would just steal that and run off and hide in the basement and kind of do stuff like that. And then I kind of figured out more of the nuances of like adding melodies of your own and you know, typing it out on the keyboard. And then that kind of led to me going through different software and different iterations of like my what would be my setup now, and cut to, gosh, like 15 years later. And you know, I've been to Korea, and I have you know, I've played a festival there, and I've got a full album out, and I'm working on a second one right now.
I love it. Well, speaking of Korea, I literally just had an interview with an artist in Korea this morning,
Oh, yeah.
and we have we have quite a few artists from Korea and all over the world joining FENIX360. But this is what I love about this app.
That's
It's
awesome.
that it's like a safe space, a collective of artists from all over the world already coming together. And I love this EDM pop fusion of a musical landscape that you create, CHAD, that has a transcendent universal quality to it. I'm curious to know
Thank you.
what you're excited about in terms of the prospect of collaborating with artists all over the world in places that you've been to.
Honestly, like it's been really fun. There was one specific artist through a um, a collection called Sound Republica that we've worked with to basically kind of help spread what I do here out through Korea. And I got to do a remix for an artist called Moon. And she's a sweetheart. She's so much fun to talk to, and she's an incredible musician. And like getting to do an interview with her, kind of just to push that forward, has been really interesting, just because it's the way that the dynamic works between being interviewed in a completely separate country and trying to have that, you know, translated. And like it's just really mind-boggling, because I've seen separate numbers from not just Korea, but like from Japan and from like Indonesia, and just like places that I wouldn't normally think that I would ever have gotten anything pushed out towards. So it's really interesting to me to see how other artists from other countries how their music is perceived in the US, you know, especially Korean music at this point in time. I mean,
Oh my
um,
God. I mean, it's like the thing, but also on top of it, and I'm sure you've seen this too, Chad. When I speak with artists in the East, they are so hungry to collaborate with art and music sensibility of the West. And so I just
absolutely.
love the fact that like each part of the world is hungry for the other.
I know, and it's like, well, and that's just the thing is that like if that trend keeps going, like it's just going to keep feeding itself, and like there's nothing bad that can come out of it. It's just
And
going to be more creative progression and more art and more things for others to enjoy, and more things like more projects that artists like myself and you know, I'm sure like yourself can enjoy and keep, you know, feeding off of. So it's just
oh my God, Chad, I through this
it's a vicious
process,
cycle.
I've already freaking I'm collaborating on, you know, a few new musicals with artists in the East. And, you know, what I also love is you mentioned progression, and I then break down that word, and I think progress.
Hmm.
In a world today, in a society today, in a media today that loves to pit East and West together, it
Hmm.
seems like art now more than ever is what's going to bring us all together.
Absolutely. I
That was my soapbox moment. That was my
No,
like,
I no, I this has already been the best like interview I've ever done. I
aw.
think no, it's just like, but you're so right though. Like I when you actually break it down towards progress, like it's just human beings pushing each other to be better and to do more and to do different things too. Like, you know, getting out of your comfort zone and like actively pushing yourself to do different projects that like you might not consider, and in different art forms and in different cultures, that you might not be, you know, subjected to unless you're given those opportunities.
Chad, well, listen, I could speak with you all day, my friend. I want to let the audience know for more on the amazing Chad Atkins, you can read more about him right below this video. Mr. Chad, I want to ask you one final question
Of
before
course.
we go. Um, Look, this has been a tough time for all.
Hmm.
We're all dealing with this trauma and moving through it the best way we can. I'm curious to know what you're most optimistic about. I want to know what you're most optimistic about in terms of the music that you're about to put out, maybe a little sneak peek about when we can be getting some more Chet Atkins in our lives, but also on a more global front, what you're optimistic about.
Um, I'll answer it layer by layer. So as far as what I'm optimistic about musically, the the music that I have been working on, it's been a very slow moving process because um I've definitely gone through my own set of you know, mental trials. Obviously, the past few years have been hard on everybody, and like it's been difficult to do a lot of things, and even, you know, when you're sequestered at home a lot, it can be even hard to you know, push yourself further in a creative direction. So, you know, it's been tough to try and push out new things when, you know, some days you just aren't as motivated, and it like it can be tough. But I'm optimistic about like the new kind of like frontier, I guess, that I've been pushing myself towards. I've been trying different things sonically that I normally wouldn't. I've been trying different things lyrically that I normally wouldn't. And the things that I've come up with, every time I listen back to them in my car, I just it gives me the same sense of happiness and this like sense of emotion that I got when I first like put out my first songs, and when I first, you know, started finally like pushing myself out there, and you know, and seeing them where they are now has just been so good. So like I'm optimistic about, you know, where this like the new music's going to take me, but I'm also more optimistic about just how much I've developed and how much I'm going to continue to develop in the future. Because the way I see it, I'm gonna, you know, push out new songs, and I'm gonna have this new album out. But at the same time, I'm also gonna be working on other stuff in the meantime. I'm gonna be, you know, honing my blade. I'm gonna be, you know, cultivating this creative passion that I've had for a long time. And um I have a new single that I haven't released a single in years, but I'm finally getting to the point where it's almost ready to go, and it is called Eyes on Us, and it will be released sometime very early next year. So I'm very excited about that. Um, and to answer the second half of your question, as far as just optimism goes, you know, it can be tough to be optimistic about everything with, you know, with the pandemic going on, and just with everything that we've been pushed through the past 2 years. Like it can be tough, but I'm optimistic to see how we can overcome as artists and as citizens of the world. And I'm just optimistic to see like how we can use art and how we can use other mediums of expression, to connect each other and to see, I guess to kind of bare our bones and bare our souls a little bit, and try to understand one another a little bit better. That's my hope, is that after 2 years of solidarity and after 2 years of I guess I should say solitude, I think I'm optimistic to see ways that we can find what connects us rather than what separates us.
I couldn't have said it better myself, my friend. And you're a
Thank you.
perfect example of an artist that I think has not only done the work as a human, but as an artist, to have the empathy, gratitude, but also I think the bigger sense of why you do what you do. It's inspiring because, you know what, at the end of the day, Chad, I think of the young Wills and the young Chads watching this video, that there are artists out there who are artists with a capital A, like yourself.
I'm touched. That's so sweet of you. Thank you so much. And if there
Listen,
are any
Chad,
young Chads and anybody watching, I mean, I don't know, man. If I can get here, all it takes is just, one push to get started, and years down the line, who knows what you're going to be doing. So just, find that push and find what creatively motivates you, and just get to work.
amen, my friend. Well, listen, I'm so grateful for your time today, and I'm so grateful that we are now connected.
I am very grateful for that too. Thank you so much. This honestly has been like one of the best interviews I've ever done in my life. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.